house? Yes! It's possible. Just load $100 in SkyCard or Nopal to win your dream home. Fully equipped furniture. Not only that, but every 2 weeks you can win beautiful sofas, bedroom sets. Make your dream come true. Load $100 in SkyCard or Nopal, cause the more you load, the better your chances are. Kirgi, Yai Borom. It's only possible with your national GSM provider. Giamcell, Yai Borom.
Welcome back. Authorities in Mauritania say they are examining a request made by Libya for the extradition of arrested former Libyan intelligence chief Abdallah el-Sanusi. Libyan delegation that traveled to the West African state returned to Tripoli, leaving behind the international fugitive. And PAIGC's leading candidate, Carlos Gomez Jr., is expected to face off against former President Kumbayala in a runoff vote after the first round failed to produce an outright winner. We have details of that story and others in this roundup.
Mauritania is continuing to examine requests for the extradition of Abdullah al-Sanusi, Libya's former intelligence chief. Nouakchott says it will follow all the proper procedures before taking a decision. According to the Libyan government spokesman, Mauritania had agreed to extradite Sanusi for trial for murder and human rights abuses, but a Libyan delegation to Mauritania returned to Tripoli empty-handed. Abdullah al-Sanusi is also wanted by France and the International Criminal Court. In Niger, the government has announced the arrest of a former Tuareg leader, Aghali Alambo. Aghali Alambo was the leader of the MNJ rebellion between 2007 and 2009. He's suspected of smuggling arms and explosives from Libya. Aghali Alambo lived in Libya and returned to Niger in 2011 with a number of Libyan army leaders after the fall of Muammar Gaddafi's regime. Guinea-Bissau's former Prime Minister Carlos Gomes narrowly missed a first-round election win and will face ex-President Kumbayala in a runoff vote on April 22nd. However, Kumbayala and 4 other opposition candidates want the poll annulled, saying it was riddled with fraud. There are now fears of violence in Guinea-Bissau, which has been plagued by violence and coups for decades. The African Union and ECOWAS say the election was free and fair. The president of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, is on an official visit to Brussels, where he is meeting with top European Union officials to strengthen economic and political ties. The president of South Sudan is also discussing a dispute with neighboring Sudan over oil production and transit. There are also talks about assisting 100,000 Sudanese displaced by ethnic conflicts.
The gunman suspected of killing 4 people at a Jewish school on Monday is holed up in a Toulouse neighborhood, starting a lengthy standoff with French police. According to French authorities, the suspect is a known follower of a group linked to Al-Qaeda. Mohamed Meira is believed to be a French of Algerian descent and has been on French police list of terror suspects. We have details of that story in this report.
On Wednesday afternoon, the suspected killer in Toulouse and Montauban was still barricaded in his apartment and surrounded by police. Since 3 a.m., French police have been negotiating with the presumed killer of 3 French soldiers, a rabbi, and 3 Jewish children. At one point, the suspect opened fire, wounding several officers. Police gave the suspect an ultimatum. He had promised to turn himself in by the afternoon. The man has been identified as Mohamed Meira, a 24-year-old Frenchman of Algerian origin who had been part of a radical Muslim group. He claims to belong to Al-Qaeda. He wanted to avenge Palestinian children. It was discovered that in 2010 and 2011, Meira had visited Afghanistan and Pakistan, where he trained in Islamist military camps. His name was included on a list of radical Muslims in Toulouse. The group to which he belonged was banned by the French government last month. The turning point came when police traced his scooter from an email exchange with the first victim, who had advertised the scooter online. The motivations for the crime, revenge for the death of Palestinian children, and France's military engagement in Afghanistan risk stirring up racist and anti-Muslim sentiments in France. President Sarkozy has moved quickly to diffuse tensions. We must not allow ourselves to succumb to confounding different issues or to vengeance. Faced with such an event, France cannot be great unless it stands unified. Late on Wednesday, Mr. Marat had still not turned himself in. France's largest Jewish association said it believed that the suspect had been preparing a new attack that morning.
The Central African state of Rwanda can boast of one of Africa's thriving economies. Despite the huge focus on developing the economy and infrastructure, Rwandans are not losing sight of the importance of a clean environment. Their government banned the use of plastic in the country, and the results, a very clean Rwanda. Let's look at this report.
The scene is the airport outside Kigali, capital of Rwanda. Some passengers are familiar with a certain product restricted locally, plastic. Others are not.
Here at Kigali International Airport, we make sure that no one gets into the country with polythene bags because it's the law, and we mind our environment very much.
One obvious consequence of this policy is that Kigali is a very clean city. There are no plastic bags in sight. The law on plastic bags goes back to 2008, but the Rwandan government had already decided on the policy 4 years earlier.
The volume of solid waste that we generate in the city of Kigali is about 450 tons a day. 3 to 5% of that waste was in plastics.
That means 13 to 22 tons of plastic every day. Today the plastic is sorted at the Kigali city garbage dump and then recycled. The network is well organized to prevent any disruptions. A study done in 2003 went into great detail on plastic damage. The bags block sewers and plumbing. They make the ground drier by blocking rainwater from soaking the soil. They kill the animals that eat the plastic regularly. And they are a threat to the health of local residents.
When the plastic bags are burned, the resulting smoke emissions are toxic. In Rwanda, people were in the habit of using plastic bags to start fires for cooking.
People living in Kigali today use bags made of vegetable fibers and various paper envelopes. The idea was revolutionary and changed the life of this man. No more small-time jobs for Manny Rarora. He created his own work by recycling empty cement bags.
I can make about 400 envelopes a day, and with that, I make between 4,000 and 5,000 francs, or 5 to 7 euros a day. The only problem is finding the paper cement bags. Sometimes it's tough to find them. We spend entire days looking for the paper bags.
In stores, paper bags are located on the checkout lines next to the registers. Today, customers are totally used to them.
These ones are very good, even it's easy to carry them. You can even use for a second time, and if you want to throw it, there are dustbins around the town where you throw it.
That Kigali is so clean has not gone unnoticed. The city is beginning to receive interested official visitors. A number of African countries have sent delegations to receive a few lessons from this small Central African country that is implementing big ideas.
And before we go, a reminder of our headlines. President Jammeh has commenced the treatment of the 7th batch of HIV/AIDS patients. The Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Masane Kinte, has assured Gambian peacekeepers in Darfur of government's commitment to meeting their material requirements. PAIGC candidate Carlos Gomez Jr. is set to face off with former Bissau Guinean President Kumbayala in a runoff election after the first round of voting failed to produce an outright winner. And police in France have cornered a French citizen of Algerian extraction believed to be behind a spate of deadly shootings in the city of Toulouse. You can also follow that story and other Grts programs live on our website at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor Grts Radio Live. That brings us to the end of the news. Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned and enjoy a range of interesting programs.